Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3. Alright, well, of course with Black Ice. Just getting ready to send this guy out here. I think he's probably more than, yeah. Well, organized up. And let's see here. No, that's too far out here. No. No. Okay, well, there we go. Convoy rating passes, so it goes back once they get too messed up. But I thought we would take a quick look here. Seems like we're doing 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2. Doing pretty well. I guess they sunk something, or is this maybe the Italians operating out here? Maybe sunk one of my subs or something. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. So we're doing damage to them. Not even thinking we're bringing them down to their knees, though we might be. We had a battle there, it looks like. So 1, 2, 1. And out here we are still... This we did have a... we lost one of our subs out of the pair. So I retreated a little bit. But we're still bringing down a few more here. You're doing a little bit of good there. So let's see if we were to have to come down this way. Convoy rating. Passive. Might be a little better. So, like I say, I don't think we're bringing them to their knees or anything with sub-warfare, but I do think we are bleeding them a bit. You know, they've got to build convoys and escorts to replace them. So that is a good thing. Okay, oh well, and we can see how we're doing here in June 30th. You know, last episode I talked a lot about the concept of sea peoples and using the sea as... Now, why don't I use naval invasions here? Partially because the direct approach normally just punches through them so well. But let's continue here. So we lost a province down here, yeah, and we're retreating. Oh. One there. We want, oh, here, good. Get this province, keep cutting them off. And one there, attempt to break out. And we're down to one division opposing us. Okay, who is... Which is the 14th there? It looks like they're about ready to shatter. Okay, you can stop attacking my stuff. Let somebody else take it for a moment. You guys have no order, so it looks like you're going to come and cut us off, so we're going to back down that way. Good. Get to the river there, and another province. We've lost, but we are counterattacking. We want to destroy that. Good. Good, then we'll come down and take out that NKVD unit. Roma is going to clearly take out Bira's train shortly. Armored train. Bira probably did have an armored train. He was paranoid like that. Or maybe not paranoid, maybe he just realized that he had so many enemies. You're that kind of person, you sort of do. But you support that attack. And we're at that one. Cool. So now we've got Leningrad, Stalingrad even more firmly isolated. Oh good, we've got Bira's train, Bira. Train, okay, oh okay, damn. And we're auto-saving, yes. Okay. Good, they're trying to cut their way out, but he's going to hold for a bit, I think. Okay, submarine torpedoes advanced. Good. We like that. Yeah. Well, for the time being, at least we could be stopping that. For sure. But since we have... Oh, I think I like this. First, our car design is also advanced. Yeah, so I'll stop that. We start that. Oh no, I'd rather do the high velocity gun. Let's see, we're 7. Also, engine must be at least 3, so. Let's do this way. Okay, good. Good. Where do I have some air support here? These guys. Let's bomb these guys. These guys, let's go after him. Yeah, you should be up in the air. One second. You don't need to intercept. No, you can attack that. Trying to use my air power a little bit better. need to keep moving it there. Well, let's put in these guys. You come up to here to hold the front. I accidentally sent these guys up here when I went to to send supply. I rebased. Pay close enough attention. Okay, well, since you're there, you're going to come down into here and smash in the rear of these guys that are hitting concrete bay there. But, well, you escaped that one. Okay, you blotted out that little pocket there. So, head. So I just wonder what this is doing to their supply system. The supplies can get out. Get in there. Okay, retreat. I just wanted you to go there to take the province. They can do things. Make them react. Not push against them here. Because here is so hard, or as hard. Okay. Massive amounts of stuff, and yes, that's the stuff I was waiting for that I thought didn't happen right, but just didn't happen maybe as quickly as I thought. Okay, motorcycles, yes, you went away. Yes, go down here. Okay, supply organization advanced, plus 80% throughput. That is excellent. That and that, just cut down the cost. Logistical warfare will also be helping the HICs. And carrier crew training has advanced. We only have one carrier crew, or one carrier, but still, it's going to be a little better. Well, I want to keep at least one of these doctrines operational, or researching, improving, whatever you want to call it. Commerce defense. Well, since we have more and more commerce, yeah, we got a lot of those little guys. Logistical warfare focus. Oh, this here too. We got this. Okay, so we just had this, and that's 44 is too far advanced. So we will stop that. I didn't look at the year the first time I looked there. Installation security. Yeah, looked at that. The Repulse is lost, and Queen Elizabeth is lost, and the Prince of Wales is lost, I presume, to the Japanese. And we've lost that battle. We retreating it. Okay. Corpo di Spedizione Italiano in Russia. The Italian Expeditionary Corps in Russia was a corps-sized unit of the Italian Royal Army, which fought on the Eastern Front during World War II. The Ss Calvary was composed of 3 divisions. Okay. Tank, good. New ambassador in Japan. Nice to get the boost. German-Romanian oil agreement. Yes, please. We want to improve your oil wells. Romania has accepted. Excellent. Well, that will boost our crude oil considerably and improve our relations with Romania. Good. Okay, sort of waited for this event. I knew it's not one of mine, but knew it was coming. I love that event image. It tells the story very well. I presume that's the Corps marching through somewhere in Denmark, but I'm not absolutely sure. I'm proud out to see them, and it looks to be a historical, very early patch for the Free Court Denmark, or Danish Freikorps Denmark. I'll read this first. Was a Danish voluntary army corps created by the Danish Nazi Party in cooperation with Germany to fight the Soviet Union. In June 1941, days after the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the DNSAP newspaper Freider Landet proclaimed the creation of the corps. Formation was subsequently sanctioned by the democratically elected Danish government, which authorized officers of the Royal Danish Army to join the unit. The corps was disbanded in 1943. Okay. That, I would say, is a version. I'm not saying any of that's incorrect, but I don't know if it was so much created by the Danish Nazi Party. The Danish government, as it says, democratically elected, and still the original government. Sure, they had influence by the Nazis, but it wasn't a Nazi-appointed or Nazi-controlled government. And the king was still around. They signed the second version of the Anti-Comintern Pact after, which was set up after the Barbarossa started and the war with the Soviet Union. The original Danish Free Corps, as set up, was set up to be a Danish unit as sort of part of that Anti-Comintern Pact commitment. set up to go fight in the Soviet Union. They were originally thought, and it was originally made up of volunteers from the Danish army, active service army, both officers and enlisted men. And they originally thought that they were going to be out there serving as a Danish volunteer unit in Danish uniform, fighting the communists. Well, that's under the conditions, and we saw earlier in another event how the SS was somewhat deceptive to initial recruits as to what they were going to be doing. And whether this was a deception in that manner, or once the Corps sort of got going, the SS got their hands on it. I don't know which, meaning once you sort of recruited up and, we're going to go to a German base to get sort of equipped and get ready to go off to go to the front, if at that time the SS got their hands on them, or if it was an SS plot all along. I'm not sure about that. But basically they show up and get to some training camp to get organized up. Like I say, the initial draft are all currently serving Danish soldiers. That doesn't mean that they're, I don't know the level of training competency of Denmark prior to World War II. I don't know whether it was a really good small professional force, or hey, if anybody invades us, we're not going to do much, we can't do much, so we're going to have an army just to sort of keep the peace and sort of have an army. And the guys know how to shoot a rifle and know the basics, but they may not have been anywhere beyond that. I just don't know, quite honestly. It could be either way. I don't know whether they were really good or not good at all. But they basically show up and get told, you're now in the SS or auxiliary Waffen-SS elements. So you're going to wear German SS, Waffen-SS uniform. And, you're going to do this as this free corps. So basically they weren't really given much of a choice. So the early group of people weren't necessarily Nazis. I mean, they probably weren't diehard anti-Nazis to want to go fight. They were sort of, I would say, patriots wanting to go fight the great menace of communism. Now, subsequently, it becomes very apparent, and as this, I presume, this isn't the initial draft, because I know the initial, when they left Denmark, they were, and there's photos of them, in Danish uniform. This is obviously them in German uniform, and I can just see close enough that looks like those are SS collar tabs. So, and it looks like right there is an SS army. So, which wouldn't be Wehrmacht. So if this is the Danish Free Corps, and if it is, or Danish troops, and if this is, and I don't recognize the terrain enough to be somewhere in Denmark, this is a, there's a Danish flag there. So probably in Denmark. This is a later version, maybe some of them coming home to be reorganized, or later draft going out, I don't know. But it was only after they got to a camp somewhere, I think in East Prussia or someplace, that they got told that they were going to be wearing Waffen-SS uniform and not their own, and they joined. Later, and they continue to recruit. It becomes apparent to the Danish population of the nature of this. The later recruits, I would say, are Nazi sympathizers, or Nazis, or Danish Nazis, or whatever you want to call them. And there were several sort of Danish Nazi elements already in existence, like the DNSAP. I'd have to look in my books again to see if there were multiple factions, or if I'm confusing that with Sweden, which did have multiple factions of Nazis. So, so the nature changes of the organization. Okay, SS Tank Destroyer Brigade, yes, as I said before, that's not SS Tank Destroyer, it's an Army one. Start production, okay. Rename the Panzer Armies. Panzer Army Command Models have been renamed. First and second stab rows. Okay, let me find these units. These are the Panzer Armies. Okay. No. Let's look at so. First and second. Should I cheat? I'm gonna not cheat and go no, because I just, they're waiting for fuel. I don't want to lose them at the front and have to send them all the way back out. Okay, deploy the 17th Flak Division. Now, the Flak Divisions haven't been doing very good. Do we have any aircraft level in Leipzig already? Thought we used them up. Is this Leipzig? No, that's Erfurt. Yeah. I think we rebuilt that one at significant cost. No, I don't need that. Okay, Technical Brigade oil starts to work in Grozny. After seizing Grozny, the Wehrmacht found the oil wells were thoroughly destroyed. They were shooting Red Army, and technical experts of the Reich have to restart operations soon. Okay. So let's take a quick look down here. This is a Grozny. There it is. Okay, so currently we have coal mines and oil rigs. So this will, and we are currently producing 20. And they have a base of 17. So, but the oil rigs, of course, help a lot. So yes, we want to repair and improve that. Operation Harling was dramatically the Greek resistance announced its presence to the world with one of the war's most spectacular sabotage acts, the blowing up of the Gorgo-Pontomos railway bridge, the linking northern and southern Greece on the 25th of November in 1942. The operation was a result of British mediation between Hellas and the other resistance group carried out by 12 British SOEs, Special Operation Executive. I keep Hellas and the other one. It's very similar. One's the communist, one's the non-communist group. They didn't get along, but the SOE got them to do this one thing together. This was the first and last time the major resistance groups cooperated due to the rapidly developing rivalry and ideological entrenchment between them. Okay. Fine, we're going to lose infrastructure. We don't have a choice. But I would say again, where is Visa? Okay. No problem. And I get that this is a nice historical thing. The only problem I would say with this is I would have Allied control is somewhere here to be able to be supporting the Greek resistance. Okay, oh bloody hell. It was formed when the 10th Association redesignation circled and advanced across the Don and the Volga. Street fighting in Stalingrad, it was encircled and destroyed. It was reformed. Okay, well, this sucks. Okay. Like their Panzer renaming, I don't know if I would have gotten better support units for the headquarters or not, and I was tempted to rename the divisions, or rename the brigades so as not to, to have the event fire and not to lose them. But this doesn't give me a no choice. And I have not had a unit destroyed. In, I think it's maybe center. Yep. Is this one? It's covered up. Nope. It's the 100th. So over here. Okay. Since I've not had this covered up or destroyed, and I'm painfully moving it to the front here. No. Here, I don't want this rebuilt. This just sucks, so I'm going to cheat. If you didn't already know, this is how you cheat these events, even mine. I know many of mine that are like this. I have a check to see if they're, alive, exist. At least one of the brigades or something in the section. So if you rename them, if you rename any of the colored ones like this here, if you rename them, often the event won't fire. Maybe I should have renamed it, but I didn't think it was going to give me no choice. Okay, so now it's going to remove these brigades, but these brigades no longer exist under that title. So you're not supposed to do what I just did. We lost the leader because he presumably got used for the other, because he was given by event. No, it would be here. No, here. Okay. Yep, nice. And I think this is a little better version with the elite in it, is it? Who's under... He's coming up here. He's under the 4 HQ with the red sort of circle thingy. Looks like I think that better, so it's going to change that. First, yeah, here. There we are. Yeah, so get added an elite unit to it. Okay, well, let's give him another general. The other one's fine for that. Yeah, he looks like a good choice. And of course we will. This one, which, like I say, if it was destroyed, like unit didn't exist, if I'd renamed it and it appeared back, or if it asked me if I wanted to upgrade it, we're going to send this north again. I don't know, it'll take forever to get there probably, but okay, went. And we now have, oh, that's cool. I like it because I saw that and I was expecting that, but yeah, that's cool. That's the flag that they used. You can barely see the writing. Let's give it officer. You, I'm thinking we're going to see if we have enough fuel. Like you, we don't have. You're moving way too slow. Let's see if we have enough fuel on you. Come over here and pick you up. And yeah, you're moving. Okay, good. Hello, everybody here. I think we're going to move you down here. They may still very well end up in the east here, but I think we'll move you by ship. I think it'll be quicker if we go that way. Okay, and Croatian Naval Legion. Good. There was a sort of battalion that did operate. We'll also send you to here. Motorcycle units here. Cool. I don't like to cheat, but you give me no choice because I, obviously I had a choice to not do that, but I mean, you don't give me an option to go, no thank you, on upgrades. So that's one of Alexi's events. So I don't mind the idea of the history, and if, like, obviously we didn't have a battle of Stalingrad yet, and we haven't lost one yet, so we have a teeny fraction more, so so I don't mind that in theory. Build cost whole. Firing something to just sort of, like, see now here, I have the choice, I have the chance to upgrade the Liebstandarte SS Adolf Hitler Division, but I can decide not to do it because it's not in combat, so it's giving me the option. But it's sitting here in a critical place that I'm not going to pull it off and do that. So I like how this works. Brigade Hermann Goering. Well, since I know that I have, where is it? This guy here is just starting to head east, so starting over is not a big deal. I will upgrade it. I think that will remove that brigade. And so yes, it removed, and so I'm fine with that. Now that should also give me another unit here. Oh, it's in the production queue then. That wasn't a happy bit. But okay, we will. If I knew it was production queue, I might have waited a bit, but whatever. Because it doesn't seem overly much improved. And Ss Calvary Division. That may pull off my Ss Calvary unit or something. Right, no, it's just a new one. Okay. The 8th SS Cavalry Division, Florian Geyer, was formed in October 42nd by expanding the SS Cavalry Brigade formed in 1941. Its lineage goes back to SS Totenkopf-Standard, formed in 1939. The division was named after Franconian Knight Florian Geyer, a supporter of Martin Luther and leader of the Germans in the Peasant Wars. That's the kind of thing that Himmler liked to do. Go back to name things after long dead people. Okay, and the division saw action on the Eastern Front, the Balkans, and finally in Hungary, where it was destroyed. Okay, decide not to, but yeah, manpower, yep. The SS had a lot more cavalry divisions than the army did. And I'm not talking about Panzer Division named after an older cavalry thing. I'm talking about, oh, it's also in production. Okay, well. And how many Army Cavalry Divisions were there? As you're all thinking. I'm not talking about, which we have one sent up somewhere here. Where is it? These guys are heading... He's zipping along really fast. Here, I'm not talking these guys. Things like this, the foreigners in German service. I'm talking about German Army Cavalry Divisions. How many do they have? Everybody shout out the answer. That's right, 1. Or you probably got it wrong. A few of you knew, I'm sure. But because I was surprised, quite honestly. I thought they had more. I was looking in my book on cavalry units of World War II. And the German army had a bunch of auxiliary type, Cossack type units, but only 1 division. They had other brigades or not brigades, regiments and things like this that did get motorized over time. So having, where is it? No, it's not a motorized unit. It's thinking non-motorized unit here. Yeah, things like this cavalry regiment. That I'm not. They had some of those, and more and more of those got motorized. They may have kept the cavalry title, but they had a bunch of those types of units, but only 1 proper division. At least according to that book. So I could be wrong, but that'd be because the book is wrong. Well, I thought that was an interesting bit of trivia, as it were. So I would have thought really a lot more. Which one is it? Is it this guy? Yes, well, just retreat. Your job is to mess with him. You're doing that. Messing with him. Now they're sort of being led, but now reconnected, and they're doing their thing here. You start marching. We'll put these guys here. 14th. Yes, that's a good choice. Okay. So, let's see if Cavallini is right, and these guys can be good mountain fighters in the mountains. And we sort of kind of know their not good fighters out in the open. Now, part of that is, well, don't know a whole lot about these particular Alpina divisions, but a lot of regular Italian infantry divisions had things like pack artillery as part of their standard layout. They, you know, they were, you look at Italy, it's very mountainous. So I would say it's a combination of things. One, if you look at the northern borders of Italy with France, with Germany, that they were, you know, this goes well before 36, and starting to align with Germany. They started out to be not aligned with Germany and maybe aligned more with Austria and protect, using Austria as a buffer state and move in to protect Austria, or territorial ambitions into Yugoslavia or Greece and Albania here. These are very mountainous regions, you know, so whichever side that they're going to maybe be going on, you can readily see that Italy is likely to be fighting in mountains. So that I will agree is part of it. Part of it is mountain guns are cheaper in that they generally cost less to produce. The ammunition costs less to produce. They cost less trucks and support equipment to haul the guns and the ammunition around. So they're just cheaper to produce and have. And so I think part of it is just they're cheaper guns to have than regular infantry guns. And I know the Italian army very much still was reliant upon World War I guns to man itself fully, or artillery itself, or whatever, fully, which, okay, there's another ship right there, yeah, which is interesting, and needs to be understood how poorly equipped Italy was to fight in the Second World War. And it really was. Okay, you guys, you stop attacking this. Yes, major defeat. But you, start moving here as a blocking force. Keep these guys from escaping. What are we doing up here? Okay, they are slowly bashing themselves. I don't know, we'll let it go a little bit longer. I'm facing this Cavalry Division, so... well... maybe a little too... oh, I don't know, too much troops, too few defenders, meaning they're getting a good economy out of this. I got all these units stuck up here, and they've just got a couple of crappy, you know, units down here and stopping me. So that isn't doing so well from my perspective. I'll go up to the... no, wait, what else do we have? Just you, so you support the attack. Okay, Come up there. Okay, well. You attack there. And then attack there. You support that attack, and you support this attack. You support that attack. You're attacking there, or you're moving there. Okay. Okay. You attack there. You also attack there. Follow through to there. Blocking, overrunning, whatever you want to call forces. Okay, well, you're there now. Good. Finally. Well, now. You move up this way. You guys keep moving. And you change back to this path. Okay. Okay, yes, you guys just float away. Somebody just sort of as a pinning force and attacking force. If you know how to supply or lost that province. Okay, well. Well, it's time to start driving the other direction. Okay, you guys are now somewhat organized, so you're not going to immediately turn around and run. All foreign units. That's too far away. Okay, well, we'll put you under a foreign unit then. See if how you like that. these guys, let's mess them up before, but let's send them up here with air support. What? You guys attack here. Well, that should help. Now they're going to come into my city there. Okay, you armor unit, you move there. No, you go there. Here to here. Okay, another day, another whole bunch of stuff. Well, we have Serbian nationalists are causing problems. Okay. Leave one there, good. Keep them out. Mechanized HQs have advanced, which reduces our time between attacks. I think about half an hour. I know it says an hour, but it's the second one, which is very nice. Oh, up here. Okay, we're going to come back and make sure we start attacking. Okay. Barone. The Romanian poet Tudor Agazi has published a pamphlet titled Barone, Thou Baron, against our ambassador in Bucharest, Manfred Freiherr von Killinger. Ionescu, the Prime Minister, ordered the imprisonment of the officer and the confiscation of all the copies of the newspaper. Okay. Actually, Killinger, as I mentioned before, is not a nice person and not a... Well, maybe he's a very good representative of National Socialism. I was going to say not a good representative. Well, he probably very much represents the very bad side. So this disrupts our relationship with Romania. Okay, the Turkish Legion. Although the Turkic peoples have been perceived initially as racially inferior, the attitude officially changed in autumn 1941 when the Nazis attempted to harness anti-Russian sentiment in Turkic peoples in Russia for political gain. The first Turkish Legion was mobilized in May 1942, originally consisting of only 1 battalion, but expanded to 16 battalions and 1,600 soldiers by 1943 under the Wehrmacht's command. These units mobilized exclusively on the Western Front, isolating them from the Red Army. Yeah, this is, how do I put this? Something that was always a concern in dealing with various elements that, of disaffected Russians. Some of the big, huge mass captures of Soviet prisoners. There was, well, a starvation issue. Now, part of it, I do absolutely believe is, oh shit, we just captured 60,000 people, or whatever it is. And the Germans were completely unprepared for it. So they didn't have food prepared. They didn't, often in the conditions that they were captured, whole armies or divisions or whatever surrendering in mass, part of the reason they were surrendering is they were out of supply. They were out of munitions is part of it, but also in fuel, and also part of it was food. So that was part of it. And even if they weren't entirely out, they didn't necessarily have a lot of supply laying around, and that as part of the logistic chain that was supposed to happen. So there was a sort of starvation element there. But I think again part of it was just it happened because the Germans were unprepared for it. And I think the guys that, not that the starvation was at this point is necessarily like people dying. It was just like you're going 10 days without food or something and you're not doing well and you're getting very underfed. I think a lot of the anti-Soviet type prisoners that they took at that time can forgive that and realize it's the chaos of the situation. But what also sort of happens is that early on, the Nazi hierarchy isn't interested in collaborators because they think they're just going to roll over and win this war. So they treat the prisoners ongoingly in a very bad way, unlike they did with the prisoners in the West. So they've soured, in my opinion, a lot of potential volunteers by their treatment of them. But I think that a lot of them would have wanted to join up to defeat, if it was a question of defeating Bolshevism. Yeah, borders were going to change, things weren't going to be the same, but there was still going to be a Russia or a Ukraine or pick your ethnic region. There was still going to be some sort of existence for their group of people. They would have had a lot more volunteers, but because they treated them ongoing in a bad way, they wouldn't. But once they started to do this, I think a lot of them, they didn't want to recruit out of those prisoners because you want to go from starvation rations ongoing, working in some factory, or to go get a gun to maybe defect to the Soviet Union or whatever else. There's a chance to get out. So a lot of those that may have been potential recruits weren't allowed to recruit, and those that sort of kind of were, once they sort of went to these groups and had recruiters from certain ethnic groups, they sort of kind of knew that once they, a percentage of them, once they got into a place or just into a region that's familiar to them, even if it's not at the front, they would have disappeared. So there was that. So a lot of the early recruits into service for the Wehrmacht was just done on a ad hoc basis locally. Hey guys, not only do we surrender, we want to join you. And the local Germans sort of gave them jackets and equipped them. So there was a lot of that. That sort of represents a lot of these guys in the early phases. And they did this. So a lot of these guys, they moved west. Okay, Ukrainian Liberation Army, supported by General Kestring, who was responsible for formation of the Eastern Legions. The UVV grew in size by 42, include up to 50,000 men. Towards the end of the war, UVV had reached 80,000. UVV was included as part of the Wehrmacht and supplied with a lot of German officers. Okay. I think he's a German. That's a Russian Liberation Army patch on that tank man. Those obviously are, but no, maybe he's not a German. You can't see it there. These guys don't have the Army Eagles, though this guy does have an Army Eagle, and this is well documented, and that's a different collar patch. That's why I'm sort of thinking that's the Army collar patch. But as sort of the officer, the guy with the goggles, this is also probably an officer, not a German officer, but an officer because he has binoculars and things, and so does him, but I don't know. Well, the shoulder boards maybe. No, those are German style shoulder boards, because if you notice, these are sort of Russian style big shoulder boards, though that's a German style shoulder board. But still, he's wearing that, and that's not a German officer's cap. The guy looking over the shoulder. So I think he's a German. I think that's maybe a German Eagle there, but I can't see. I've seen this photo before in probably better detail, and that's including it. So yes. Oh, okay. This is just a 50 manpower. Great. We could use that. We are down at 400. Hills willing Hiwis, volunteers. This is the word entered into the language during World War II at Hiwi, when the German troops enlisted volunteers from the captured territories for supplementary service: drivers, cooks, hospital attendants, ammunition carriers, messengers, sappers. The term is often associated with collaborationism, and in the case of occupied Soviet territories, with anti-Bolshevism, widely presented by the Germans as such. Some Soviet Hiwis were pressed into combat in the ranks of the German army in desperate situations, such as with the German Sixth Army in Stalingrad, where they added up to about 25%, 50,000 of the frontline strength. Some German divisions had higher ratios. For example, the 71st and 72nd Infantry had parity between German and Hiwi manpower. So that's an SS guy. Obviously you can see on the helmet. I don't know what these two guys are, but it looks like these are recent guys that showed up and, hey, we want to join you. So there was a lot of that. Let me say, a few divisions, it was almost half the division. They eventually, I think, gave us, I'm going to say 1/3. You know, that's the max you can have. And give somebody else. SS Panzer Brigade, yes. Lish Brigade, yes. Schwer Brigade, yes. Okay. Rene. The one man who clearly needs no help from the fallen Madonna with the big boobies, which is supposed to entrance women, is Rene, the sexiest man in France. If we all could be as lucky as him. Now, of course, this is obviously a rather big joke, because he probably isn't the sexiest man in France, but all the women sort of think so in the show. So this is again something from Hello. Romania deploys the Transnistria Occupation Command to complete the development on deployment of regular army units, the Axis drive in the Caucasus. Yes, we need this. Technical Brigade Oil starts its work after seizing Baku. Oh, did we seize Baku? Not yet, but we're getting it. After seizing Baku, the Wehrmacht found the oil wells were thoroughly destroyed, the technical experts. Oh. Well, this is Mykop, which we have seized. First one was Grozny. No, that isn't it. That's Tbilisi. Up here. No, that's Grozny. Mykop. Oh, Mykop's over here. Yeah, okay, so you're currently getting 13 from a base of 14. Revolt risk and other things are affecting that. We'll gain an oil rig, and gain oil refining plus 20, and minus 15. I really would like, I mean, I'm taking that, but I really, though it's going negative, I would have taken it anyways. It's worth it, but I really would have liked an option to say no. Okay, UK lifts blockade to allow wheat deliveries for Greece. From the time of their arrival in Greece in 41, the Italian and German occupying forces took possession of all available food resources, thereby creating great difficulties. The ICRC entered into negotiations with the occupying powers, with the United Kingdom and Turkey, to organize relief work in Greece from October 41 to 42. August managed to bring 45,000 tons of food into the country, but during the terrible winter of 41-42, only 7,500 tons arrived safely. The famine grew to terrible proportions in Athens and several other cities. The rate of mortality was 4 or 5 times higher than it had been the previous winter. Subsequently, the ICRC subsequently obtained authorization from London to deliver 15,000 tons of Canadian wheat to Greece every month with the help of the Swedish government, which supplied the means of transportation. And the Canadian authorities, which provided the goods. Ships made 94 trips from Canada to Greece, bringing 17,000 tons of food there each month between September 42 and March 44. From April to November, the monthly deliveries rose to 29,000 tons. I did not know this. That is interesting. I did not know this at all. This is one of the reasons I wanted to play this this game and sort of play it historically, is gain supplies and revolt list. Okay. I wanted to see and read and learn from the events. Okay, Marine Commando North Africa. Didn't we already have this? We already have this, so no thank you. Okay, well, we're going to end this episode here. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. I really do appreciate it. And please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. I love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.